That's what he said with Cedric D. Sanders.
100% real, raw, and uncut. Deadass.
Hello, my name is Cedric, and along with my beautiful wife, Connie, we'll be hosting my brand new podcast. That's what I said. I'm a retired Navy veteran that suffers from PTSD and anxiety, and we'll discuss how I cope with the mental illness through comedy and discussion. It's a podcast that will talk about everything from cryptocurrency to comedy. If we're worrying about the dollar going up and down, up and down, up and down, and it's still a dollar, guess what? The value of that means absolutely nothing. Cryptocurrency in itself is the future of money. From spirituality to cannabis. To have cannabis on the Schedule 1 list is bullshit. I'm sorry, it is. It makes absolutely no sense. If it's a seed that can be planted and it has healing properties in it, why the hell is it in Schedule 1? Last time I checked, cocaine don't have healing properties in it. From interracial relationships, I don't have a problem with people talking about interracial relationships. People try to talk bad about my interracial relationship just to think that they can get under my skin. I mean, really, it don't bother me. I mean, let's not make, call a spade a spade. But if you have a problem with someone that's in love, it shouldn't matter the race of the person. It's mental illness in our community. The problem is people want to put labels on it. Everybody wants to put color on everything. And as soon as you put color on it, it gets treated differently. The money gets treated funny. Because if it's dealing with Asians, guess what? It's going to take a longer process unless those leaders step up and get into the president's face or U.S. leaders' face and say, this is a problem in our community. Not leaving one topic unturned. If you want to hear real, authentic conversation, interviews, and comedy, please take time to listen to That's What I Said, because I said what I said.
Giving you 100% authentic, real, raw, unapologetic truth with no filter. Listen to That's What I Said. Available on your favorite podcast platform.
Come get this work. We about to go in. Y'all know what time it is. Turn up. That's what I said.
Welcome to another episode of That's What I Said with your host, Cedric Sanders. Giving you 100% authentic, real, raw, unapologetic truth with no filter. The broadcast starts now.
Let's go.
We live. Let's go. Jump in the comments. Join us for this awesome conversation we about to have. Let's roll.
Come get this work. Y'all already know what time it is. That's what I said. We live Tuesday night as always. A little bit later than we usually are, but I apologize. I mean, it's my own doing, but at the same time, welcome to another episode of That's What I Said, where you get the conversation from the only realest dude you gonna get it from. That's doing podcasts right now, and that's me. So, without further ado, y'all know my co-host, my wife, Connie. Say what's up to the people out there.
What's good. It's Tuesday.
It is.
I'm excited for this topic. I really
Yeah,
am.
man.
I want to see people jump in the comments and really engage with the conversation with us both. I'm excited. Let's go.
No doubt. So I made a decision in doing this topic because I think it's something that I wouldn't necessarily say we all experience, but it's something that we should be prepared for. Something that we should actually take a conscious effort and be prepared for. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about creating and understanding what an effective emergency fund is. I think the more reason to me to have something like this and actually talk about it is, I think going into a situation where the dollar is doing what it's doing. Everybody hears the rumors about the dollar. The dollar is not going to be the global currency. It's fallen. It's going to fall down. It's going to lose its worth. And I can agree with that to a certain extent, just from what I know. What do I know? I know that the reason why the dollar is the way it is because it's controlled by the government, one. It's printed by the government, two. Three, the elements of what people don't realize when it comes to the dollar is when countries get selected to basically be the global currency, it gets adapted within all these countries' reserve accounts. So if anything goes awry in their economy, they can lean on the dollar and cash it in, and it's supposed to give them more than what the dollar's worth. Well, I mean, up until recently, I mean, the dollar has been up, but inflation is up as well. So basically,
I was just about to say, well, that kind of negated that fact, didn't it?
I mean,
with the inflation going up.
I mean, let's do a comparison to the dollar, what it's worth.
Uh-oh.
So say back in the John D. Rockefeller situation or age, or I guess you can say experience, say back in like the 1830s, he got $4,000. That's like in today's economy, it would be like $101,000 in today's economy. That's how the US dollar is what it's worth. However, if you have $4,000 back in the 1830s, you can basically start and run a business, like a full-fledged business.
Exactly.
Now, with $100,000, you can start a business. You even have some startup capital to, do goods and services, whatever the case may be. But it's not going to take you as far due to inflation.
Right.
The cost of things. Mm-hmm. So people were like, okay, so what is an emergency fund going to do? What is really emergency fund going to do? Emergency fund is not necessarily going to help you create the budget you would need to start up a business. However, emergency fund is a practice and a need that everybody should be using or even trying to use, because we can prepare for things only on a certain level.
Right.
Most people's tendencies is when an emergency happens, they'll whip that credit card out. Not necessarily bad.
Right.
Not necessarily good either. If you have a true emergency fund, and I'm going to get into what I think a true emergency fund is and how long it should take you to get to that point, and how much you should save. In my opinion, it's not a true amount, but I'll get there when I get there. You got a quote for the people? We ain't gonna start the podcast without a quote. We gotta have that motivation to get us going right into the podcast, because if we don't, then we kind of, we dead in the water. You know what I'm saying? It gets to a point where you get dead in the water and you really don't have the motivation or the direction you need when it comes to not even just doing a podcast, but just, anything, how you start your day. So that's how we're going to start the podcast, with that quote. What's good, babe? What's that quote?
All right. So our quote is coming from Dave Ramsey, and it says, interest on credit cards is not the real problem. The lack of budget is. You have to live on less than you make.
And I know exactly what happened when somebody heard that. They just logged off. They just said, nope. I am not dealing with this conversation tonight.
Damn.
Hell no, you are not about to know. You are no. You are not about to embarrass me in front of myself.
He gave him the old AOL log out.
No, that's the old Windows log out.
Oh, Windows. My bad.
And you just logged out. I don't understand. How do you not remember that? I mean, can we?
What you just said
I mean,
is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
I mean,
at no point in your
I'm not
rambling,
saying it. They are.
incoherent response were you
okay, producers, we get it. So, that quote itself is really kind of intriguing itself, because really budgeting is one of the things, or one of the key things, and I guess you can say we can call it Cedric's top 5. So every topic, or every topic that I can explain finances, I'm gonna have a Cedric top 5. And part of Cedric's top 5 in any topic that we do will always incorporate, just based off of it, and it's my experience. It has to be off my experience. So, bam. Let's go with the first one. In order to create a true effective emergency plan, this is my 5 steps. Top 5. Say it's top 5. One of the 5, and this is no particular order, this is just me. Create a budget. We just talked about it. Dave Ramsey has been doing this for years, and one of the things he always says when creating, an emergency fund is create a budget. You have to know what your spending habits are. You have to know what you're spending excess money on. If you're not spending excess money and you're just paying your bills and you really have nothing left, then you have a money problem. You don't have a cash flow problem. You got an income problem. And it's people, I've been hearing this for like months and weeks now. Income is not the same as your cash flow, because your cash flow should be able to flow with the amount of money. Your lifestyle should be able to flow with the money that you receive in. And then how you create more money is how you create more cash flow. The problem is this: when you create a budget, you have to recognize all these things. You have to track your expenses. You have to make sure that when you create this budget, you're honest and true to yourself. Because if you're not honest and true to yourself, it's not an honest and true budget. And I don't care if this is not even just a personal budget. This is even your business. If you can't budget your funds and you're overspending and you're just trying to buy the hottest thing there so that you can, have the hottest thing there, but really you don't have any extra money for what ifs, or if something breaks, or if, something happens to your property and you got to fix that. It's like, oh, damn, what am I going to do? I'm going to tell you what you're going to do. Be honest with yourself. You got bad spending practices. You're putting your own business in turmoil because your personal spending habits is trash. You can't mix the two. If you got bad spending habits or you're bad with money and you create a business, those same habits are going to transfer into your business. You have to discipline yourself. So this is like one of the key ones in starting an emergency fund, is creating a budget. Or I should say this, because it's my top 5, creating a disciplined budget. Creating a disciplined budget. We got to write that down because I want to put that on some slides. Creating a disciplined budget. So you're doing 2 things. You're creating a budget so that you can be disciplined with your money, but you're also disciplining all your habits, all your things that create all of this bad spending or impulse buying or whatever the case may be. In creating this budget, you want to track your expenses. So the next one is you have to set goals. You have to set a goal as far as what the amount is for your emergency fund. I'm going to give you, I think, a good calculation of that. So if there's 2 ways to do this. 2 ways. The less intrusive way and the true way you should do it. Or I should say the gold way you should do it. So when you set goals, if you've never been a good saver or anything else like that, you should try this. $25 a day for a whole year will bring you $1,300 a year. Yes or yes? 52 weeks a year times 25, 1,300. I'm good. Of course, if you do that for 2 years, 2,600 and so on and so forth. Now, that will teach you just how to put money up and leave it alone. That's the same way you have to create this emergency fund. Now, your emergency fund, as far as that goal, when you set it, this is just me. This is not like, some financial experts may tell you more, some might tell you less. This is me, and this is what's been effective in my life. So I'm sharing it because that's what I said. You want to save at least 4 months of your of your actual expenses, your monthly expenses. So whatever your monthly expenses are in any given month, times 4. That is a true emergency fund, not a savings account, an emergency fund. Now, number 3, well, number 3, it's part of number 2, but to finish off the second one. So the first one is what?
Create a disciplined budget.
There you go. Number 2 is
set goals.
Set goals. You got to set goals. Setting these goals, you have to be disciplined as well. And this is the reason why. When you set these goals, you have to make sure that your monthly expenses based on your lifestyle and whatever commitments you have with the said money that you do every month, that needs to be tallied and multiplied times 4. Everybody wants to say now, why 4 months? So on a typical, any typical situation that happens at any part of your month, and say, God forbid, you get into a car accident. Your deductible is, say, $500. Do you even have $500 in your savings account right now? Probably not. You probably have a credit card that has $500 on it, but you don't have that same cash in your account. Why is that important? You can use credit cards all day long. The problem is how we use those credit cards is what gets us a lot of people in trouble. If you stay within 20 to 30% of your spending limit within that credit card, you're not overspending and you have cash available for in case an emergency or whatever the case may be. Then you can swipe that card and then run that payment to where it goes right back down to 30%. Because you don't want if you want to have great credit or credit that is revolving and moving forward, you don't never want to spend more than 30% of your credit limit on your credit card. So with there were monthly savings that like you have to be disciplined with. One of the other ones that I think is making sure that you are prepared for any kind of situations or circumstances, meaning you have to look at also, and a lot of people don't do this in their emergency fund. This is how you top up your emergency fund. You add up all your deductibles. You have to add up all your deductibles. Monthly, not monthly, medically, for your vehicle, for your home, any type of insurance you have, whatever those deductibles are, add those up and put those in that monthly budget. Put them in there at least twice. And then you add that figure up. So Ced's formula for the emergency budget would be monthly expenses for 4 months. And then add your deductibles 2 times out of those 4 months. Now, this is important because when you have this money created, you want to put it into an account. And this is going into number 3. When you create an emergency fund, you want to put that money to work. everybody's gonna know me as the man that wants to put their money to work. I want, like I said this in a call last night. I want to get called on Maury with my money sitting there and them running, to find out if I'm the daddy, doing the DNA check. Because I'm putting my money to work. They're gonna know who their daddy is. I'm putting that ass to work. And this and some of these things that I'm gonna say as far as putting your money to work is something that you may have already heard me say or talk about, and I will continue to say and talk about these things because they work. And it's based on my experience. You get that 4 months of your emergency fund created. You want to put that money somewhere where it's going to grow. It's seeds. It needs water. Where are you going to find the water to put your seeds in? You want to put it in, my opinion, high yielding savings accounts. 0.01% is not a high yielding savings account. I mean, if you can find a savings account anywhere that's doing above 1%, get it. Anything above 1%. Mind you, I didn't say 0.01. One, at least higher than 1%. If you can find, they have money market accounts you can get. They got all those things. But if you can get an account that doesn't fluctuate with the stock market, you don't get penalized for taking the money out. Every year you have a percentage that's going to be somewhere in the vicinity of, say, 8 to 15, if not more sometimes. If you can get into those type of an accounts, which most people can, if they have, $25,000, $30,000 or whatever the case, some are $10,000, and basically use that money. That is your emergency fund. The profits you make off that money, you just keep in there in your emergency fund until you absolutely need it. You don't never have to touch it. You don't never have to mess with it. If an emergency comes out, guess what? You take that money out. Now you become the bank. Now you are the bank. Be your own bank. I know I've said this, so I don't know how many times in podcasts and when I was doing Facebook Live. Be your own bank. BYOB. Not bring your own brown bag or bring your own beer. Be your own beer or whatever. We used to say BYOBB. Bring your own brown bag, baby. But damn. BYOB. Be your own bank. When you put that emergency fund money into one of those accounts, most of these accounts, some of them anyway, are called private reserve accounts, just so you know. You put that money in that private reserve account, it's going to draw interest yearly. As you're drawing that interest, you leave the interest in there. You don't touch it because that's your emergency fund. What are you taking the profits out for? You wanted to make babies. Let it make babies. Let it produce. Right. Because that fund is what that emergency fund is there. It's just an emergency fund. You need $5,000 to take care of, some repairs for your house. You take that $5,000 out. You tell yourself how you're going to repay that $5,000. Oh, by the way, some of these accounts, when you take that money out to use it or whatever the case may be, because it's just your emergency fund. I'm not saying anything else other than that, because we're not talking about that. But if you're using this as a true emergency fund, you take that $5,000 off, you pay whatever you want to pay, and you can make the choice if you're going to pay it back or not. You're the bank. Right. But see, we have to discipline ourselves in these better practices so that we can get in that position. $25 a week, I don't think it's too much to ask. You do $25 a week. In some months, that's what? $100? Right. A month? In some months? Mm-hmm. And you put that into an account and then you do that for a year and you can roll that into a money market account and then you could do that again for another year. And then when that year is up, you just withdraw that money and put that money into another money market account, or the same one to build more, or whatever the case may be, and you build it up to where you can get the funds into a private reserve account, or an account that's high yielding savings account. You put that money in there and you keep building on it until you can create better cash flow to where now you have a goal. I know what my monthly expenses are in 4 months. If they go up, then guess what? Your savings need to go up. That's just the reality of life. That's how life is supposed to operate. So number 3 was setting goals, right?
Number 2 was setting goals.
Number 2, I'm sorry. I thought I was on 3. See, I'm getting tracked behind. This is bad.
Number 3, I thought you said was
putting the money. Yeah, I did. So number 3 would be putting the emergency fund in an account that has, that's going to give you a percentage of interest on that money. It's just not going to sit there. You don't want, if you put it in your savings account that you have currently, you're only going to get $1 every year.
I was just about to say, you ain't gonna get nothing.
If you have $10,000 in your savings account and you let it sit in your little savings account that gets 0.01% interest, at the end of that year, you're gonna have one funky dollar, 4 quarters, 10 dimes. That's it. On top of that $10,000. Oh, by the way, when you file your taxes, they're gonna send you a statement. They're gonna send you that little form and say you got to pay taxes on this $1. Just saying. Mm-hmm. So that's why I say put it in a high yielding savings account, or, you get the opportunity to put it into a private reserve account so that it draws interest. So put your money to work is number 3. Put your money to work. Let me make sure I'm on track. You got it written down, babe?
I do.
Okay. Put your money to work. And then number 4 is pretty much what I was talking about, creating a savings plan or put your money to work, is making sure that you truthfully and without shadow of a doubt you already are doing this, or you can get into the role of doing this, managing your expenses and managing the unexpected ones. Managing expenses is good for a lot of people when you live within your budget and you live within your means. If you're living outside your means and it's basically you're living a lifestyle where if you had more money, you would be more comfortable, then why aren't you doing those things? Why aren't you putting yourself in a better position to where you can do those things? I'm not saying you can't go ahead and have fun, but sometimes fun gets expensive. And when fun gets expensive, it usually ties into shit that we got to be responsible for. And most people say, oh, won't you just make sure that you are taking care of your responsibilities and then you don't have to worry about how much you spend for entertainment? Yeah, you're absolutely right. But you sound like you're creating a budget for that.
There we go.
So I appreciate that, Body. I'm weirded out about people that have that mindset, because it's okay to have entertainment money. It's okay. But are you budgeting for your entertainment money? I'm speaking from experience. I did. I told my wife this story. When I was stationed in Hawaii, man, and this wasn't even the first time I was in Hawaii. The first time I was in Hawaii was on my first ship. I really didn't understand the concept of money. And that was that. So I didn't. So I got to go to Hawaii again. And this is kind of where I was getting into a better understanding with money, not because my child support went up, but because I was already in that mindset. I had to rebudget when my child support went up. It was, crazy story. We'll have to get into that offline. But I was telling my wife that I had came to a point where I was like, I can budget my entertainment instead of just overspending. So, I just recalculated everything. I saw how much I had extra. And I said, you know what? I can really just spend $200, really $400. And I'm good. I'm still saving $5. That was my mentality then. I'm still saving $500. Like I can screw off $400. What? Like, what are you doing?
What?
That's what you're doing out here in these streets? That's what I was doing. And literally, I mean, I was buying Echo clothes. I was making sure I had fresh Jordans. Hair was always cut because I could do it myself. I didn't have to worry about a barber. I really ain't never had to worry about a barber since the whole time I was in the Navy. I mean, I just let dudes cut my hair because I got tired of cutting my hair. And then they wouldn't let you have clippers on some boats. Some boats would, some boats wouldn't. So it was like, damn, I gotta have these crusty ass dudes cut my hair like I don't want it. Anyway, but I created a budget that fit my entertainment, but it really didn't fit my lifestyle. I was buying all these expensive clothes. I was driving a $25,000 car and I lived in an apartment. Huh? Huh? Make it, the math ain't mathing. Make it make sense. I need to do a soundbite for that. The math ain't mathing.
No.
So, of course, you know, I got older and I realized that, you know, I was having bad spending habits, and created a better budget where if I do spend, I know I can take care of that spend because I have a budget as far as how much I actually can spend, and I won't go past that. It's a dual effort when you're in a relationship, especially as a man, because most men have this innate ability that, you know, they want to make more money than their wives, and that they make sure that all the bills are paid. And if the wife chooses to work or whatever the case may be, that she has that money for herself. And I mean, that's a great team concept biblically.
It's not always the case.
It's not always the case. It's not sometimes reality.
Right. Exactly.
Some people's relationships, they accept this person not because they lazy, not because they can't do. It's just they can't do some shit. And some of the stuff that they can't do is not necessarily bad. It might be because they was actually doing good, making money, and something might have happened. We're not going to go there. Don't judge people in the state of their relationships. Some people do live off other people. There's that.
Right.
But if the person's not contributing into a relationship other than some phalange that lays between his legs, and he chooses to do what he do to you, or the other way around, you got, you know, 2 baby bottles sitting on top of your chest, and the best thing you could do is fling them around and get what you want, then, you know, your budget is messed up in life, not necessarily financially. So you have to be disciplined. In this whole process, you got to be disciplined. I don't care what you do, how you do it, you know, you got to be disciplined. Let me look at these comments. Yes, you have to run your household like a business, period. I respect 100% of that comment. I appreciate that, body, like 100% of that comment. You really do have to almost treat your household like a business. And people were like, oh, that's sounds kind of, you know, dictator, you know, being a dictator. I'm like, it's not about being a dictator. It's about discipline. Your house comes with rewards. Every discipline comes with rewards. You can't tell me somebody that went into karate school when they were 7 years old and they 30 at this time, and they've been going to karate school since they were 7, that they don't reap the benefits of having that discipline in their life. You can't tell me that. You can't tell me that a person that sets up a budget, creates an emergency fund, does $50 a week for 52 weeks, has $2,600 at the end of the year, and they just keep doing that while paying all their bills, you know, doing all the things that he's supposed, you know, he's supposed to do, quote unquote, and giving the people the opportunity to still have a lifestyle with his income because he work hard, he do what he's supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? He bring that money to the table. But that's it. That's all he's doing. What is he doing for himself? We are too comfortable getting in this repetitive cycle of saying, I got to work for somebody so that they can pay me, so that I can base my lifestyle based off the income that I get. And we don't see this conversation that we're having right now. A lot of people don't want to have this conversation. People have bad spending practice because they got income problems. The income problems stem from two factors: bad discipline. What happened?
I'm waiting for you to just really hit them, because really is.
I've been too nice on this podcast, so let me step up.
A sad reality, and a lot of people don't understand. It truly takes sincere look at everything and that hard discipline on your spending, period.
So, yeah, I agree I agree.
I'm just saying,
that's 100.
You're hitting them hard, true facts right now. And what's that old saying that we used to have? Somebody gonna go cry in a car?
Yeah.
Because it's a reality. It's a reality.
All right, so...
And like Body said, you're about to hurt somebody's feelings.
I hope I don't. I hope you can take this with a grain of salt and it actually, enhances you. But
this is
it wouldn't
education.
be that's what I said. It wouldn't be that's what I said if it was the case. Okay. So
this is the education.
Absolutely. So if you're looking for motivation to get your ass in the gear, this is the two things that we have. The reason why people are in these situations and continue to work the little crappy job that they work because they think this is all I can do, or they're limited based off of that job, but won't try to enhance their cash flow. This is the two problems they have. They're bad with discipline, which means they are okay with the bad spending habits that they have. Okay, what's bad spending habits? If you have a game system and you buy games every month and you live in an apartment and you struggle keeping your utilities on, that's your problem. That's called bad discipline. That means, how are you funding your entertainment when you're struggling to keep the lights on in that bitch?
Right. Your priorities are a bit mismatched and confused.
You said you hungry and the only thing you got in the cupboard is oodles and noodles, a half, eaten bottle, or I should say jar of peanut butter, and some crackers that's been in there for 3 months. That's probably stale. It's like your refrigerator don't necessarily hoard anything because it doesn't understand what hoarding is, because you ain't never got nothing in there to hoard. Bad decisions. That's the key thing. The reason why people are not successful at saving their money or just keeping a little bit. They make bad decisions. And like I said, that's okay. But be okay with recognizing that that's what you have.
Exactly.
The second thing,
you got to own that.
Yeah, you got to own that shit. So the second thing, let me sip my water real quick. The second one is overpersonation. You are overpersonating other people's shit. You can't overpersonate or be, what they say people could do impressions of other people. Mm-hmm. And it's like comedy. No, people try to emulate what other people are doing when they don't even have the financial situation to do that shit. I was that person. I was dead ass that person. I was the one in Hawaii going to the damn Echo store, spending $200-$300 every week on clothes I had no business to being in. Like, no reason.
It was like you was modeling their brand every
Yeah, they ain't paying me.
But you was paying them.
I did not have no Echo contract. I didn't have no Gucci contract. I didn't have no Red Bottoms contract. I had no True Religion contract. I had none of these contracts. But I'm steadily kicking the money at buying that shit, living in an apartment. Ain't bought near one house. Them had like 3-4 cars.
You was in that keeping up with the Joneses.
I was keeping up with somebody because shit, I had some fly ass gear. What you talking about? What you mean?
You said I was keeping up with somebody.
I was keeping up with somebody. Shit. But real talk, you can't over-personate other lifestyles when you know what your life. You know what your budget is. You know what you working with.
Right.
You know what you're working with. Let's not embarrass yourself and open your wallet and the only thing you got in there is an expired driver's license and a damn debit card that scratched the hell that you can't even see your last name or the first letter of your first name.
And some dust bunnies.
And some lint balls and shit from you taking it out your damn back pocket and putting it back into another pocket every fucking day. Let's be real. We can't discipline ourselves to stop living in these, bad, hurtful situations financially that it's like, okay. People are like, I'm cool. Yeah, I struggle every now and again. That's because you want to be out there in them damn streets. I'm single. I don't need a man. But your ass out there tooting it up, wearing these short ass dresses and shit in front of niggas. And then you want to sit here and get upset when they try to talk to you. Because I ain't trying to be with nobody. If you don't sit your ass down and save some damn money instead of trying to look cute. And don't get it twisted, fellas, because y'all the same damn way. Trying to buy an $80,000 car living with your mom in her house. Get the hell out of here.
Oh.
Got an $80,000 car living in an apartment and you keep worrying about people breaking in your car all the damn time. Once you sell that damn car and go live somewhere, buy you a house. To where you can protect your own assets instead of worrying about if somebody gonna break into shit and everybody wants to, it's okay. This is where I can afford to live. Okay, if it's okay for where you to afford to live, this is the only place you can live. I'm gonna ride with you like that. But you can still practice good saving and spending tactics while you live in there to where you don't have to feel comfortable being uncomfortable and making your kids feel comfortable being uncomfortable when really they uncomfortable, but you forcing them to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations.
Damn, that was a mouthful.
You can't be comfortable making people uncomfortable when you already uncomfortable and you know they uncomfortable, but you trying to make them comfortable because you feel like you comfortable enough to make them feel comfortable knowing that they uncomfortable. How two uncomfortable motherfuckers gonna make a comfortable situation? How?
Well,
how? Make it make sense. The math ain't mathing. Come get this work. I told you at the beginning of the podcast and every podcast, come get this work.
Self-discipline.
Man.
Y'all better catch these gems. I'm just saying, you better catch
exactly, body. It's like they got these nice cars. They got these nice cars. Not to cut you off, babe. I'm sorry. This comment tripped me out because it's the truth. People got these nice cars, but the house about to fall on the car.
Damn.
You can't even put the car in the garage because the damn door ain't open since you moved there. You put shit in that. You see, this is how crazy some people are. You got three dynamics of people. You got people that appreciate what they got. They appreciate what they got, but don't like where they live. Or they don't like where they live and they don't like being where the hell they are. So guess what? That reflects in what they have. We have to desensitize ourselves from these thought patterns and do better. We can't make an effective emergency fund or a plan when our discipline is screwed up. We're over really, you just over perpetrating other people. It ain't even just over, personalizing shit. It's really, you basically just overacting. You putting on this
and don't have a contract to act.
No, none. You ain't getting. I mean, they should give you an Oscar award because it's like you motivated to do all the shit you supposed to do when you have money. And then people wonder why, when you have that mentality, why when you get some money, it's always gone. Because most people have this mentality that I want to celebrate the people around me anytime I get a little extra money. Are they celebrating you? Or are you using that to try to fit in? Let's not have that conversation. I'm not saying you can't appreciate the people around you, but damn, every time you get a little bit of extra bread, you ain't taking care of you. All right. I'm just all right. So I talked about 4, right?
Yes.
What was 4?
Making sure you're managing your expenses.
All right.
Truthfully.
So lastly, the last one. The last one. And this is going to be this is going to be the one that kind of sets up your whole thought process when it comes to making this emergency fund. And I didn't talk about it. I talked shit about it, but I didn't talk about it. What if you lose your job? What if you get laid off? What if you get put into an emergency situation and then get laid off? Are you prepared? Do you have the financial preparedness to react to that? Number 5 is always going to probably be my number 5. Trust the process. You got to trust the process. If you haven't done this or been able to do this, get started today. Start it with whatever you can afford. $10, $20, $25, $50, $100, whatever it is you can do a week. Do that. And in the process of you doing that, write down all your monthly expenses. What's monthly expenses? Things that you have to pay. Things that you have to pay. You got to keep that roof over your head, right? Bam, you got to pay that. You got to keep the utilities on. Bam, you got to pay that. I got to pay for internet if you choose to. If that's something that you have to do, if you're going to school or your kids need it for homework, by all means, it's a must have. Water, you got to keep your hot water going. If you pay for trash, you got to pay for that. That's all about living in that house, right? You can't pay for some of it, you got to pay for all of it. Car, all that. But everything is just, I think, in reality is trust the process. You have to trust the process. It's when you trust the process, it gives you a better feeling for all your money. Because now it's like, if I can do this, I can put my money to work. You know, I got to listen back to Ced's podcast when he was talking about investments. What's true investment? What does that look like? You know, when you start a good investment and what you got to do, research and all that stuff, you know, I got that. So setting up an emergency fund, you have to trust the process. It gives you an opportunity to be able to say, hey, I can discipline myself enough to where I can do this. And if I can do this, that means I can put other money to the side so that I can create a fund for if, you know, what if I want to, you know, buy a house and I know how much the down payment is going to cost based on the house that I can afford to live in, because I seen how much the prices are and what housing cost is and what my mortgage can possibly be if I get this type of house and they have those houses in this area. It's all about goal setting. That's all it is. Same thing with emergency fund. The emergency fund gets you into the mindset that you can goal set. When you create this emergency fund, you know what you got to do. You know how much you got to save. Bam. You start doing other budgets. It's the same thing. You start goal setting. What goals is going to complete this? Bam. You got it all set up.
Right.
prioritize. You definitely have to prioritize. So, in conclusion, to wrap it up, bring it all home. I talked about 5 things. My beautiful wife also just put it in the comments. So, create a disciplined budget. And to me, that goes without saying. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to pin that as my comments roll up, because I was looking at my phone and trying to pin a comment and I couldn't. So anyway, the first one is create a disciplined budget, set goals, and make sure that when you set these goals, it encompasses how much money you have to put your monthly expenses in that goal setting. When you set that up and you give it the ample opportunity for you to be able to say, this is it, that's your goal. That's your gold amount. Once you get that gold amount and you set goals to get to that process, the third thing is to make sure that you put that money to work. Put that money to work. Put that money in a money market account, some type of high yielding savings account. And if you have enough money saved up or you have it already, put it into an account that is going to make money while it's sitting there. And like I was talking about the private reserve accounts, you put that money in there, it's going to go to work immediately. You leave it in there for 2-3 years, you'll be able to literally have a true emergency fund. And then you could do this with any type of fund that you want to create. Put that money to work. Just because you're putting that money in for a down payment for a house and you've been looking at houses and you just ain't found nothing yet, put that money to a private reserve account or to a money market account or something that's constantly drawing high yield interest. So when you got time to use it, shit, I had 10,000 in there and I got 25. So shit, let me still do what I'm going to do, because now this is going to make my mortgage payment lower, which is perfect for me. I still get the house that I want in the area that I want. That doesn't mean you go and buy a more expensive house because it fits within your budget.
Right.
No, you created a budget for down payment to go in this type of house with, this monthly mortgage payment. That's what you can afford. Don't screw that up. 4, making sure you manage your expenses. Truthfully, manage your expenses. Discipline yourself. Don't be making these bad decisions or having bad discipline and basically over perpetrating other people just so that you can live a lifestyle that you know you can't afford. Beer budget on a champagne diet type shit. You already know what I'm talking about. And number 5, like I said, number 5 is always going to be number 5. Trust the process. Trust the process. Y'all going to come get this work every time we do. That's what I said. You got anything for the people before we get up out here?
The only thing I have is thanks for listening and, and engaging in the discussion and the conversation that we were holding tonight. This is all educational. So if anything that was said may have offended you, please don't take too much to heart. This is all education and trying to help you as the individual exceed your dreams and goals. So with that being said, I'm out. Peace.
Absolutely. Don't take offense to anything I said, although on the That's What I Said podcast, you're going to get always real. Always 100% authentic, no matter what the topic is or what I'm talking about. But I'm going to be real. I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I want you to be successful, but the only way you're going to be successful is to get tough love, right?
Absolutely.
That's what I got to provide. So I hope y'all enjoyed the podcast. Please join us on Thursday, same time on Thursday, where we'll talk a little bit about, I'm not going to tell y'all. And it's not because I don't know. I do know. I don't want to tell y'all because I want it to be a surprise. And it's not going to be about taxes. It's not. It really ain't. It really ain't. It's going to be something I think that you can take with you and it'll build you. Like I'm trying to do with all these podcasts. I'm trying to motivate people. I'm trying to build people. I'm trying to have everybody look at finances differently, have a better relationship with money, and ultimately increase your cash flow. That's going to be the hashtags for the podcast at all times, because that's my responsibility, I feel, as a podcaster, is to help people increase your cash flow. And if you can really get into a better understanding on how to increase your cash flow, discipline yourself and do it and trust the process, you're going to be successful, I'm telling you. So, like, again, I hope y'all enjoyed the podcast. I'm going to be with y'all again on Thursday. Make sure you follow us on all social media platforms. That's what I said on Facebook as a group. Please join the group. Please follow the group, I should say. Listen and view this live podcast on YouTube as well. That's what I said is the page. All you got to do is tap it in and go in there. Subscribe. Please subscribe. I got to get those numbers up so I can kick my subscriptions off. And the subscription is going to be very low cost, but you're going to get so much work out of it, and you're going to get so much detail from it. So my subscriptions are probably going to be like $1. Like, I'm not even playing. They're going to be like maybe $2-3, if that. I'm not going to be trying to get into people's pockets, but I'm going to try to get these people this work, and I'm trying to get them into a better, financial journey and have a better financial respect, not just about money, but understanding money to the point where you can go with it and do what you want with it.
Absolutely.
So with that being additionally, yes, Instagram as well. I will have a website in the next 3 to 4 months that's being worked on. I have so many other things coming, so keep your head out. I will have merch available within the next week or two, and when I do, you'll see with it on. I will tell you the cost of it and everything. And please make sure you support your boy and his wife by getting a hoodie or even a coffee cup, or just basically listening to the podcast wherever you listen to your podcast. I'll holler at y'all on Thursday. We out. Peace.
Peace.
That's what he said with Cedric D. Sanders.